Hello and welcome. I'm Douglas Thunderhorse and I make Thunderhorse flutes. I thought I would invite you into my shop today. This is where I'm most comfortable. I'm friends with a lot of people on the internet, but many of them have never met me or seen me, and I thought it would be a good time to introduce myself. But I want to welcome you into my shop. This is where I make my flutes. And a few people have been here, not very many, in the past 10 years that I've been in this shop. This is the smallest shop I've ever been in. As you can see, I can reach everything very easily. I like it that way. I don't have to walk as much. But I want to introduce you to some of my flutes. A little bit about me. This is one of my favorites that I finished up recently. It's a dream flute is what I like to call it. You can see it has a small dream catcher tied into the end of it with a feather and some beads. And we have a 777 symbol here in red and blue on each end. And this is a cloud mountain pattern that I've done in red and blue. You'll see mostly in my flute work when I hand paint, most of it is done in red and blue. There's a reason for that. But this 777 symbol spins in a clockwise direction. It was given to me by my uncle Warren many years ago when I first began my flute making, and since his passing I'm trying to honor him by bringing that back and placing it on my flutes. This is what I consider to be my courting flute block. It's a new block that we just started using this year, and this flute is made from poplar. Poplar is a really nice wood to use for flutes. It's very consistent in grain. It's got great tonal quality, and it holds up well, carves well. One of my favorite woods to work with. But let me play a little tune from this one. This is where I usually am found playing my flutes. I get to play every new flute that I make. It's kind of exciting. Sometimes I can't put it down. I play for a while. I've usually got my cup of coffee and my tools, and I'm at home here. This is where I like to stay. Another one of our flute styles. This is a brand new flute. I just finished it today. It's for my good friend Barb in Kentucky. It's made of beautiful curly walnut. Barb, I picked out the most beautiful piece of walnut I could find. Very hard. And this is our sweeping feather block. As you can see, it's a hand-carved feather that flows back along the top of the flute. But Barb has small hands, and she requested a smaller flute in a lower key. So this flute is tuned in E just for Barb. But she helped me on a very special project that I'll show you in just a minute. And I wanted to gift her with a new flute. So this is for Barb. Another one of our flute styles. This is the Thunderhorse flute block. As you can see, it's got real horsehair I used for the mane, brass tacks for the eyes. This piece is carved out of a piece of spalted maple. And the flute again is walnut. I've had this flute since last year. I'm not ready to let go of it yet. It's in the key of D. Another one of our flute styles. This is what we call our signature block. It flows back along the flute. It's a little bit more contemporary looking, but there's a great deal of meaning behind the way it flows across the top of the flute. This flute isn't finished yet. It's one I just started on last week. It's made out of eastern cedar and it's the key of A. Very nice little flute when it's finished. One other style I'll show you. This is an old style voice flute. We actually have this flute on eBay right now. And it's done also in poplar. And it has some wood burning, really nice wood burning. But the feature of this flute is actually this little piece of copper right here that I use for the voicing mechanism, or the splitting edge of the true sound hole. And it gives the flute a unique sound, very crisp and very sweet. And I do this a lot, pre-1940s voicing. Gives the voice just a little bit of rattle, if you noticed. But this is a beautiful flute. It may have a new home by the end of today. I don't know. We'll find out. One last flute here that is actually my flute, carved out of beautiful lightning struck poplar with a couple bands of buckskin wrapped in black sinew. But it's I don't do a lot of carvings anymore. This is a carved horse. You can see how the colors of the wood just blend so nicely with the characteristics of the horse, the carved mane. It's in the key of E, which is one of my favorite keys to play in. I used to play with a lot of guitarists, and it seemed like the key of E always fell right in with their open tuning. So I always enjoyed that. So that's just a few samples of my flutes. There's one I'm working on right now in the key of E. It's from the lightning struck poplar, and he's going to have a little buffalo block on him carved out of eastern cedar. We have him tuned and voiced, but we've not quite gotten to the carving yet. Can't wait to hear that one when it's finished. That's going to be a fantastic flute. Our flutes are available on eBay. We sell quite a few flutes on eBay. We also sell our flutes through the Gatlin County Leather Company out of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. They're in the Artist Loop, just around the corner from the Alawine Pottery. And if you're going to be in that neighborhood, stop by and say hello to Marcia at the Gatlin County Leather Company. And also stop by the Alawine Pottery. We have a brother and sister who play music there. Say hello to Joan and Jerry for us. We also sell our flutes in Nashville, Indiana at a place called the Weed Patch Music Company. If you're ever in Nashville or in Brown County, Indiana, make sure you stop by and say hello to Jeff for us. We're usually in the area. We like to hike to Brown County State Park. In fact, on our last hike, we were coming up out of the trail. It was not a widely used trail. It was a pretty primitive trail. And as we came up out of the trail, we were met with a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful snake. It was I'd say 4.5, 5 foot timber rattler. And there was a family standing around looking at him, taking pictures. And I noticed the kids were pretty close and he was getting agitated, so we grabbed the kids and pulled him away and explained to the people just what kind of snake they were looking at. But that's one of the projects that Barb has helped me on. It's not quite finished yet, but I wanted to show it to you. It's got a little finish on him now. He's got his little rattle. I'm working on the head right now to get the head in shape. Also working on the voice. It's got a little old-timey voice. Anyway, we're working on him. We've got a lot of time to spend on him yet, so he might be available or he might end up in my collection. But he's a beautiful, beautiful snake. I think that's it for now. I hope to invite you into my shop more often. You'll find me playing here more than anywhere else because here I don't have any sound system or anything. The acoustics are just right and most comfortable. And I like to hear the flute as pure and as plain as it should be. It's a very beautiful instrument. You'll notice that more of my instruments are becoming more simple because it's the purity of the instrument, I think, that needs to be preserved. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful instrument. Let me finish with one little song from this flute. So thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you soon, I hope.